Good morning, good morning, good morning. Merry stupid o'clock, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels. And before we get started on the last part of the settlement agreement in 1988, known infamously as the consent decree in regards to the JRC, the usual disclaimers. First of all, you're going to find a link to this settlement agreement right there in the description box. Also, you're going to find other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, which is where we get the majority of the documents and the news letters and all of that from. Please check it out. Share everything that you see on that particular site. Folks, we also have the templates. Sign your name, click on your senator. You know the drill by now. Let's end aversive treatments and improper restraints in schools. It kills young kids every year, folks. We also have the ever-present change.org, shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. Because at this point, after over 36 years of fighting these bastards, they still remain open and they still continue to torture people with disabilities. It's been going on since long before I was born. So, folks, let's get these people closed down and get those kids safe. Get kids out in Massachusetts, New York, and throughout the East Coast. And anybody that was sent from California, absolutely and completely safe from these people, okay? Right. Now, when we are talking about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of, as well as see clips of surveillance footage of, people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you have young children present, please use your headphones. Also, folks, it is 3:38 a.m. in the morning. It is stupid o'clock. So if I stumble over any of my words this morning, my apologies in advance. All right, so we're going back to where we left off yesterday. It is the very last page here of this settlement. It is the BRI et al. Versus Mary Kay Leonard and motion to amend settlement agreement. So let's go ahead and read this here. The court has carefully considered the motion of the Department of Mental Retardation. God, this thing is dated. Regarding the amendment of the settlement agreement approved by this court on January 7th, 1987, well as the opposition of the students in response of the Behavioral Research Institute. Really? Really, JRC? You're literally going to oppose them due to a name change. Wow. The court will accept the motion filed by the department as an intervention in this action under the MRCP Rule 24 and welcomes it as a party under the settlement agreement. This court has reviewed the opposition filed by the students and notes that the court, in all guardianship proceedings to date, has allowed the hiring of an expert witness by the wards when appropriately requested. Oh, please. Further, the DMR experts have been available to the court and continue to be available under this amendment. This court consistently has stood ready to make responsible decisions as to when the assistance of the DMR experts is necessary and is open to the reception of motions that circumstances warrant it. The court reiterates that the DMR experts are not partisan witnesses, that their evaluations are for the court, and under the amendment shall be available when requested by the court. This court allows the motion of the Department of Mental Retardation. Good God. Okay, so what is this amendment? So the BRI at the time, now known as the JRC, is arguing what? Because the department changed its name, that they're going to be partisan on whether or not the student should come to their school. Really? Because of a name change? Wow. The audacity and self entitlement, the absolute greed and absolute incompetence of this school continues to astonish me every single morning when I pull one of these up. Basically, they were arguing that the DMR would be partisan when doing evaluations to determine whether or not a student is competent to decide on their own. What the hell? They had no problem when it was DMH. I'm pretty sure they signed the agreement. And suddenly, all because the department changes their name? I can't with these people. I seriously can't. But let's go ahead and kind of do a little recap here. Ultimately, with the 1988 decision, the settlement was that the JRC uses to beat us over the head with is the agreement that any treatment plan that the JRC come up with has to be court approved first. If anybody has noticed, you notice that the courts tend to decide almost unanimously all the time to side on the JRC to the JRC's benefit. They have literally done nothing to protect a single student in that school ever. Ever. Basically, the 1988 decision basically gives JRC free reign as long as they cross all their T's and dot all their I's. It gives this veneer of supervision over the school and supervision over whether they should keep their license or not, so that the general public will then let it rest. You see what I mean? But since then, think about it. How often do you think a judge sees a plan that these people present and actually says no? They manipulate the courts. They bring this student in after provoking behaviors out of them with their behavioral lessons, freaking jacketed up and restrained like they're freaking Hannibal Lecter. They present a show to the judge so that they will just sign off on whatever the JRC says. So ultimately, this decision here to have the courts ultimately determine things has really done absolutely nothing to protect the students in this school. The only difference between 1988 and now is instead of using the spanks, slaps, and hard muscle pinches, they now use the GED shock device. Really, that's the only real difference. And anybody who can look into the history of this place and think it's the most wonderful thing in the world, I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you at that point. People always seem to find the ways to defend something that is completely, incomprehensibly cruel and monstrous. But this, especially when you go back and take a look at the history and see all the things that they have gotten away with, it really makes you wonder. Especially the parents that continue to defend this school. All right, folks. On that note, we're going to go ahead and close out this morning. Tomorrow, we are going to go over a more recent attempt to amend this very extremely dated 1988 document. So, folks, we don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.